Mr. Godero, I'm going to ask you two things, at least. One of them is, will you take time with the committee to allow us to digitize as many of those documents with annotations as possible so that we, unlike other federal entities, are willing to pursue and to help you get to some satisfaction for all your hard work?
Yes, with the caveat that I like to discuss all that in a closed setting.
Absolutely, and we want to do it in an appropriate way. But you did share with me before we came on something of great concern that I would like to make public here. If I understood correctly, you have a number of documents there that show Afghan nationals who have been given Turkish documentation and then threw them away so we wouldn't know that what we had were people from a country that in fact destroyed our country on 9/11, people from a country that we cannot and do not have any ability to trace, and by throwing those documents away that they used to get from Turkey to here, they concealed who they were when they turned themselves at the border.
Yes, sir. So we have, my team and I have collected a lot of these documents, and some of the people on my team were able to look into these different documents, albeit passports, ID cards, driver's licenses. I have a credit card from a company that was dropped at the border. It's an Indian company, and the person on the credit card, I decided it was the name of the company on the card, so I decided to Google it. That person has a Dun and Bradstreet number. None of this stuff makes sense, Congressman. We're having a hard time figuring it out, and my team is working tirelessly. I apologize for getting a little emotional in my testimony, but my team is unpaid. They are law enforcement, current, prior, military, and we are trying to figure out what's going on because we're having a hard time, like you said, finding someone or an agency, even all the different task force. I've talked to most of them, and they really don't know what to do with this stuff. It seems, and I may be wrong, it seems like we never were ready for this to happen. I will call it an invasion because of what I've seen, and we don't have a task force to look into a possible invasion of our country. We weren't ready for it.
Well, we're trying to get ready for it, and I appreciate your testimony. Mrs. Cardinelli, I want to thank you for your testimony, and it is my hope that we will assert some pressure to see that that those escorts continue, including federal officers. As much as I object to the Border Patrol being asked to be Uber drivers for illegal immigrants, I would rather that they see them at those stopping points, that they take them into custody, even if I sadly know that they'll be released. So we were with the Border Patrol yesterday and Customs. They're very dedicated, and I will personally take time to speak with them to see if we can't free up enough manpower to use that as a technique, not just for your child, but for all the children in the district. So thank you. Sheriff, I have 100 questions for you, but I'm going to follow up on the one I gave the DA. From your decades of experience, if you had a pretty straightforward, we're going to charge you with second-degree murder, we're going to put you away for the rest of your life. If you had that tool when you were apprehending even a low-level pusher, seller, does that give you, the fact that you could charge that, does that give you a lot more oomph to move up the chain to actually apprehend as many of the people involved? In other words, does the ability to prosecute at the highest level give you a tool that usually works well in your experience as a narcotics investigator?
I think over my time in law enforcement, it's obvious that whenever there's any level of accountability by way of holding somebody criminally accountable for their actions, when there's accountability, they want to protect themselves at some level. They may even want to change the way their actions are, and that does give us investigative leads, move up the chain, and as DA Hester mentioned, then we are on wiretaps and seeking the people that are really at the core of the problem, the ones that keep the business going.
Well, I will tell you, the three of us up here are convinced that we need to work hard to give you some additional tools, at least at the federal level. I will note that our U.S. attorneys, both in Riverside and San Diego County, have tried hard to do as much as they can with a California that often doesn't make something a crime that should be and that is on a federal level.